I think the one of the problem for final project function transformation is how to produce the nth root function. So whenever you need that kind of help, just go to mathematical function. Then there are some collection of functions you could use, and one of them is the n root. So it means nth root of x for any n, right? So I already built these four sliders, so we are going to use that one. So our first function for nth root case should be n root, okay, and x with nth root, so it should be n. So hit enter, will produce that cube root of x. That's good, but we need to put x plus h within that cube root or any nth root. So our function shouldn't be this way. It should be x plus h there. Okay, so hit enter. So this should be the one look like. Okay. So let's check it. If h changes, it's good. But what happens if h becomes 0? It's disappear. If h is negative, then it shows negative ones, right? So it's good to type in that way. Okay. Then the next one is a v. So we need to add plus a v there. So whenever we have different numbers, especially like a 0, right? Okay, that's good. So it produces all necessary information. Okay, so this is a really nice way to produce. Okay. Then we need to put m in front of it, right? So we have to type in m times in front of it. Hit enter. Oh, it says this one again, so we don't need it. We already typed in there. So okay, so hit enter. Then it produce the whole necessary function equation. Let's check it. For this one, okay, that's good. And for n, it's changed to 4, then it's changed to 4, 5, it's 5. So just be careful, we won't accept the number integer actually starting from 2, not 1, right? For this case. Okay. Then after that, we can choose anything. So when you produce this function, you have to use a different slider, n, right? Especially for this nth root case only. And h and v, you can just use same h and v with other functions, right? So this is okay. Now we need to put this equation in here, right? Not algebra view. So when you put that one over here, it has a little name, right? So just choose q for that, and it shows all that the commands actually. So by selecting LaTeX formula, it produces the exact math equation forms. So click OK. Then we have these nice forms. If you want, you can put y in front of it to make really nice math equation, a math function look like. Okay, so y equals that way, so it produces like this. So it's not a problem. I think you can do that. Only problem here is when m becomes 1, we don't like it. We don't want to see 1 here. And more important case is when m becomes 0, this is way more than we expect. Okay? We don't want to see this, or we don't want to see the entire function because it's not an nth root function anymore, right? It's only just a constant function. So you can remove this one from your list, or at least we don't want to show this one, the 0 times something, right? It only remains 0.9 for the function equation. And when m becomes -1, it looks okay. So my suggestion here is to make all the other part, you can just build like this, then you don't worry about the plus, minuses, or anything like that. The only problem here is when m becomes 1 or 0, we need some specific forms for that, right? Especially when m becomes 0, we don't want to see that first term of this equation, right? So how can you do that? Yes, we have to make some conditional statement. If this one, and the condition is when m becomes 0, right? So when m becomes 0, we want only the constant term, which is a v, right? So just a v. If m is not 0, then we can accept everything, which means q, right? So hit enter. So our r is the one. Okay, so let's just put in here for r. Of course, with LaTeX style. Okay, so this is 09 because m is 0, but if m is not 0, then whole equation must be same, of course. You need to change that onto y equals r or something like that. Then it's going to look like exactly same as previous case, but it has one more thing here. When m becomes 0, we only have this. So it's totally up to you whether you want to accept this one as a part of nth root function, or you just don't want to see anything at that moment, right? So then you need to put more condition when you make this r, right? So it's not just v or q, but maybe no v at all. Okay. So two double quotation marks, right? Which means it's constant, but there is no, I mean, the text, but no text in there, right? So after you have that, can you see that, right? Then we don't want to even see this, right? So it's a little bit headache. So for your final project, I don't want this much, okay? But at least I don't want to see 0 times something in there, right? So my r here, okay, it's not double quotation mark, but v is enough for just showing the constant. Okay, so that is enough. But the next part is what happens when m equals 1. Okay, we don't want to see 1, therefore we need to change our r to more conditional statement, right? Not only just once, but the duplicates of another if inside. So the first condition was when m is 0, then choose v and q. But what happens when m is 1, right? So I can put that condition in front. If m becomes 1, right? Then we want to do something here, and this third term that we already made was when m is not 1 case, right? Then among them, we have to thinking about that condition when m becomes 0, and after that it's okay. So the only missing piece here is what happens when m equals 1. Then we want without m, right, over there. So you can guess, right? You need to make, you have to have like a p, because it's kind of 1, right? We just ignore m because m is 1 in that case. So my suggestion here is it should be q there, right? Okay. Oh, not q, sorry, it should be p. So my r should be not q but p, right? Okay, so don't forget to hit enter. Okay, can you see that? So I don't have that. Now the problem is it changed to 1/3, right? Instead of that cube root. So that's the remaining question. So it's totally up to you how you're gonna do this question. We don't want to see this way, right? So because I just corrected in the middle, so it might affect the forms later, right? So I don't want to see 1/3, 1/4 here, right? I want the cube root and 4th root, okay, style. So if you just start building on like that, then you can get that form. So you know what I mean, right? Just don't worry about the double symbols or the signs for that part. If you just make that way, x plus h, and just use it, then automatically it can be handled by that, right? You're not going to have any duplicate signs for any of this. The only problem is this constant multiplication in front of it, right? And especially the other part is okay, but when m becomes 0 and m becomes 1, right? But I think this is enough information to handle it. And for log with different base b, I think you can apply this kind of style, then you need to get. The worst scenario is, okay, it's a little bit too much using this conditional statement, like if and another if and another if, so it's going to be complicated. Then another way to do that is make several different texts, okay? Handling only that, right? So the first text is without having m, so that means it's when m becomes 1, and another one is just only constant term. It means when m becomes 0, and just like this, right? M and everything is there. That's maybe third text, and you just choose one of them. It depends on the condition, right? So when m, your slider value becomes certain things, one of these text appears only that moment, right? So you can arrange that 3 texts all together at the same place, and just by changing the slider value, only one text appears according to that the values for m, right? So you have several different ways to handle this, but I think I gave enough information. Okay, good luck.